morning, everyone. Welcome to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court. Today is March the 18th, and it's approximately 9:30. So at this time, Perry, if you'd come up and lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, please, sir.
If you'll pray with me. Father, Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day. God, we thank you for the spring, the blooming, the rebirth, and the excitement it comes with it. God, we're so thankful for this beautiful community that you have given us. We're thankful for the leaders. God, we just ask that you would give them wisdom and discernment as they do the business of your county and of your people. And God, we're just, again, blessed. And we feel your blessing abounding. So God, be with us in this day and in this time. It's in your precious Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Perry. Thank you, Keith.
I know, I'm kind of like sweaty. Yeah.
Sam, at this time, if you'd call the roll to bring the court to order, please.
Yes, sir. Vera Sanders. Present. Sean Logston.
Yes.
Karen Johnson.
Here.
Brian Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
All present.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes from the March 4th evening meeting, 2025.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for March 4th, 2025. Second.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 4th District Magistrate Bleemel to approve the March 4th, 2025 meetings as presented. Sam, call the roll.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Treasurer's transfer report, Canan.
Yes, Judge, and dated for 3/18/25 is a transfer report, and also included on that was an interfund cash transfer report dated for February the 28th. For your approval. I make a motion that we accept the treasurer's transfer report.
Second.
I have a motion by 1st District Magistrate Sanders, a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logden to approve the Treasurer's transfer report as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Johnson.
Yes.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Presentation and approval of all bills.
I'll make a motion that we approve all bills as presented.
A second.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 1st District Magistrate Sanders to approve the bills as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Treasurer's report, Canan.
Yes, Judge, that would include the appropriation condition report, a revenue condition report, and a financial statement through February the 28th for your all's approval.
I'll make a motion we approve the treasurer's report.
I'll second.
Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Bleemel, a second by 3rd District Magistrate Johnson to approve the Treasurer's report as presented. Sam, call the roll.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We do have some guest speakers today. Linda Cole from 1900 Highway 44. You'll come up to the podium.
Well, good morning. Like the judge said, I'm Linda Cole. I'm from 1900 Highway 44 West. And if any of you have driven down that stretch of the highway, I'm sure you have seen things going on. First of all, I want to address all of you. It's the first time I've met most of you, or all of you actually, and I'm I understand that you're in the position you're in because all of us have voted you in. And I have called many different ones and asking for help and advice and have not gotten a phone call back, exception of a magistrate from Mount Washington, which advised me to come here today. Part of my property is in the city and part of it is in the county. So I need help from both. And we've tried to annex the property and they told me it wasn't allowed to do that. So I've got a little story to tell that brings me here today. So I hope you'll be patient with me and understand my heart is here and what we have been through. I was here back in September the 20th of 2022, and I brought you aboard of my vision. And it was a vision of a tiny home community and an RV park, which was voted in my favor, which I appreciate all of that. Here I am in 2025, and all that's happened is I've spent over $200,000 on a project that isn't even off the ground yet. And every time I start to do something, it's like a hamster on a wheel. I go from, you know, the zoning to the health department and then told okay, and then I go to the Kentucky Highway Department and then back to the city of Shepherdsville. And I get different answers or questions or rules from everybody. So in the beginning, I was told that I needed, that I had to come here. I got it approved. Then I was told that I needed to put it in the newspaper, so I did. I was told I needed a floodplain permit. I did. I was told I needed an engineer, and I've been through 3 of them, and a lot of money spent. I'm thinking I'm good to go. I have learned that you're never good to go. So all of that and so much more leads me to today. So last year around Derby, I decided, well, you know, I'll have a Derby party. So I started researching it, read everything I could possibly find on a special event. Okay, I found out that you can have baby showers, you can have yard sales, you can have just anything for a special event. So I asked for a Derby party. So first thing I did is I go to zoning. So Charles in zoning, sorry for mentioning names, but you all know who's in zoning. So I went to Charles and he said, well, you'll have to get it approved through the health department. Why the health department? I'm thinking, you know, it's just a get-together. I could have got a porta potty out there and stuff, so it was just a get-together. Well, go to the health department. I'm given almost a book to read of instructions and ins and outs and do's and don'ts. So I thought, well, I don't even understand half of the jargon in this. So I asked a lawyer to read over this paperwork and work on my behalf. And so that only escalated into a amount of money to the lawyer, and nothing got done. So anyway, they finally said, the health department finally said, after I filled out all the forms and found out only 2 paragraphs related to me, that I had to go to Kentucky Highway. Well, I've met with Elizabeth in Kentucky Highway before, because when we first started this project and I'm starting to work down there, a gentleman shows up and says that I can't use my driveway because it hadn't been used for several years, so I needed a permit. So I go over to Kentucky Highway. She okays me to use it as a construction entrance. So moving right along. So when I did that, the Kentucky Highway, when I met with Elizabeth again regarding this event, this special event, well, I started about 2.5 weeks before Derby. 3 days before Derby, she emails me and says, you have to have a commercial entrance before you can have a party. Now, nobody else does. The VFW has 100 cars over there. The guy next to me is bringing in cars constantly across the street. Nobody's, you know, they don't have a commercial driveway. Of course, the VFW does, but all that traffic that goes in and out of there, I didn't understand why I needed a commercial driveway. There's no way I could do it. Can any of you put in a commercial driveway in 3 days? No, can't happen. So I dropped it. Where I failed in this was I should have called and told them that I dropped it. But I was just devastated and dropped it. So about 3 days later, the day of Derby, I get this phone call from a gentleman that says that they travel from place to place and they park on people's properties to help them. Well, I needed help. I needed help cleaning up the woods. I needed help doing other things. My husband and I are only 2 people doing all this. And so I allowed them to pull buses in on my property. And when I did that, well, I didn't know that it was going to look like a campground. I thought 3 buses. Well, they had to unload their buses into tents with all their stuff. So it looked, I know what it looked like, but I was never asked what was going on. It looked like Tent City by the time they put up several tents and unloaded their buses so they could live in their bus while they were helping me. Well, come on a Friday night or Saturday night, I'm not sure exactly, Mr. Peabody knocks on one of those buses' doors and tells them that they have to have those buses out. Well, if you know, during that time it rained and rained and rained. It even rained during Derby. There's no way they could got those buses out the next day. It was too muddy. So they said that they had to get those buses out of there because they were taking out my driveway Monday morning. I was out of town when that happened. Nobody knocked on my door. Nobody, and they've all got my phone number, trust me, and my email address. Nobody contacted me to ask me what was going on with the buses. All they did was come Monday morning with the sheriff, the highway department, Elizabeth she drove all the way out from her office to be there. It was embarrassing. It was humiliating for all this. They stopped traffic. They pulled those buses, they didn't bother the buses. They took out my driveway. Besides taking out my driveway, they wouldn't leave the dirt, which I could have used. They took the dirt. Well, now how's the buses going to get off the property? So now they're told they can't live in the buses, and all their stuff had to be put back on the buses. So I inconvenienced those people by thinking that, they could come on the property and help me. Well, so they took out my driveway with no notice, unbeknown to me. And so when come to find out, these people on the buses weren't very good people anyway. The one lady told me they could live there for a year and there's nothing I could do about it. Well, I went and told the mayor that she finally came back and said they would leave in 3 days, but they couldn't get the buses out. So I went and talked to the city, and the mayor saw me when I was going to tell Nikki there at the city zoning office what was going on. The mayor approached me and he said, and this is his terms, I don't use these words, but he says, you've pissed off a lot of people in Shepherdsville, and you need to go apologize to these people. So, and ask for forgiveness of all things. I ask God to forgive me daily, but for people that's in zoning that's just upset because maybe they had to do a little extra work or something that I have to ask for forgiveness, I did it though. I listened. And then he said, what made you think you could put your driveway in? I said, what made you think I put the driveway in? That driveway's been there since I was born. I've got 4 witnesses right there. He lived right there at one of the houses with the driveway. That's Charles Snellen. My other cousin is Kenneth Shepard. I'm sure a lot of you know him. He can attest that that driveway was there. Dennis Cole is my husband. We went to church at the church there, and we started dating when I lived right there at that driveway. So there is proof. So the mayor says, do you have a picture? I said, yes, I do. So I sent him a picture, and he said to me, while he was down there, again, when I back up a little bit, when I went to talk to Nikki, the mayor was there, and that's when he told me I made everybody mad. And I told him about the bus people and what she had said, but they're going to leave in 3 days. But I needed to see if they could pull off of my property onto the church's property so they could get out, because now they can't get the buses out. He said, no. I said, they're leaving in 3 days. He says, no, they're leaving today. So here he comes again. Here comes the mayor, the police, the road workers. They take my gravel off of my property and push it in, and they sit there for 2 hours waiting for those buses to get moved out. He told that woman that he wasn't leaving until she was off of the property. So all of that, and when I mentioned to the mayor that I did not put that driveway in, and why did he think I did? He said, that's what he was told, that I put the driveway in. So because these people are mad at me, they said, I'll show you, so they took my driveway out. Now I have no way to get, and here it is, that was 2023 or 24, yeah, last year. I have not been able to get anything done, no work done on my property, and so I'm losing money because I thought I could get a camper or two on the property if I got a driveway in, maybe recoup some of the money that I've made. And I get 2 or 3 calls a day asking if I'm open because I was going to go on the yellow pages, and so they put me on Google. So I'm getting these calls every now and then for people wondering if I'm open. The KOA has contacted me asking me if we're open because I thought, I'm good to go. I'm gonna be open, right? No, I'm still sitting here in 2025, not open, no driveway, and $200,000 later. So all I wanted to do when I first come in here is to supply a place, a tiny home community where people could come in, downsize, or some of your parents or your grandparents needed a community. I would be on site. I could help those people. The mayor thought it was a great idea. Even the road workers that was taking out my driveway talked to me and said, one of them told me they had an aunt that, could use a place like that. Well, then it got too costly, so I said, okay, then I'll just do an RV park, instead of the tiny home community. So they throw all these roadblocks to me all the time. I follow one rule, and then there's another rule. And if I didn't get a permit, it's because I didn't know I needed a permit. As soon as I'm told I needed a permit, I'm right down there, and I've got every permit but just a couple, and it's because I'm trying to get a permit from Kentucky Highway now, and still have not got that permit. I feel like they took my driveway out fraudulently, and I feel like they should put my driveway back in. And I've talked to an attorney, which has told me that could happen. They could make that happen. I don't want to go that far. I believe we're in a good old boy town. The more I tick people off, the worse it's going to be. I don't want to, bring anybody or get a lawyer, but I think if the right thing is done, since I didn't get a warning or an opportunity, they didn't even ask me about the buses, that they should have to put my driveway back in. The mayor even said, the city workers, I've paid city workers out here, taxpayers, to take out this driveway. I said, well, then pay the taxpayers to put the driveway back in because it was done wrong. And so anyway, I just ask for your help. And if none of you can help me, please send me to somebody that can help me. Because first of all, I am in the city. And if you drive down 44 and you look on both sides of that road and you get past a certain point, we look like the ghettos. My dad, it was Clarence Shepherd, C.W. Shepherd. A lot of you know him, good, bad, and the ugly. My dad was a good man, but he was a hoarder, and that's no secret. You could drive by his place. But I'm telling you, there's hoarders across the street now that nothing's being done. And there's drug deals around me. There's an abandoned house next to me that she lets people live in, and they have no bathroom. They're dumping their urine and their waste over the highway or all over the bank in the back, and their garbage, because they don't pay for garbage. That's been going on since before Dad died in 2020. But yet every time I try to do something, they're worried about my water runoff and how I'm going to pollute the streams. But what about the urine and the poop that's going down the hillside? And I've asked, and one magistrate came out and looked at it and said it was going to be taken care of. I mean, you can walk back there and you can see the trash, anybody that wants to come. The house is sitting there covered with green mold, windows boarded up, porch falling off, a tarp on the roof. That's in Shepherdsville. That's our city limits of Shepherdsville. And if you drive down Shepherdsville, you'll see water on both sides of especially on the right-hand side going towards Shepherdsville. And all that is a habitat for mosquitoes and contamination that's going into our water supply. I'm not contaminating the water. And then when they took out my driveway, they were going to clean out my ditch and that culvert. They crushed my culvert when they took out my driveway. When they cleaned out this driveway, they took out, I'm at this driveway. They cleaned out half-heartedly, cleaned out that ditch, crushed this now. The water's not going anywhere because of a pipe that's not running right somewhere else. The water's running in under my sidewalk. I've been told I needed vegetation and trees. I spent $7,500 last year putting in sod to stop the runoff. I've put in trees. Now my trees are dying and the sod is dying because I've got a lake out there. And I'm not just exaggerating. I have pictures for anybody that wants to see what's going on. I have pictures to show you that water is standing, and again, another mosquito habitat. And I pay to have mice taken away from our house. Dad's house was ran over with mice. So I pay Black Diamond monthly to come out and make sure that doesn't happen. I pay for mosquito control, tick control. I pay for all that. Then I've got the house next door that's run over with mice and crap and all that coming onto my property. They mowed the grass about twice last year total. No leaf control, nothing. It's a fire hazard, and there's 3 homeless people living in that house right now. Drugs going on. The police are up and down the road constantly, you know, with drugs across the street, drugs next door. The house catty corner from us that's bringing in cars, junkyard. It's just a junkyard dogs that bark all the time there as well. So again, I've said a lot. I'm sure you get the point, but I'm here today because I need a driveway. I need a driveway so I can start. And not only that, Arthur Jones told me that all I need, if everything, I pay a lot of money for flood insurance. What is flood insurance for? You know, I'm paying for flood insurance, so what the heck? It floods, I'm paying flood insurance. But he told me as long as anything was on wheels, that I could pull it in there. So in my mind again, I need a driveway because then some campers could come in because they're on wheels, or a tiny home community can come in. Park models, they're on, you know, I have 3 sewers. That's another thing. I am bringing revenue to Shepherdsville. When people start camping more, or tiny home communities, people living in Shepherdsville, they're gonna pay taxes. They're gonna shop at Walmart, Kroger's. I'm bringing business into Shepherdsville. And all I've been done is boycotted against it. And so I just need help. I need help with all this. I need help with the water. I need help with all of it draining on my property. I need a driveway, you know, and I need somebody that says, come on, let her do this. You know, she's followed all the rules she knew to follow. And I've had the dam people come. They thought I built Hoover Dam because somebody complained that, you know, we had a dam. So they thought, so the blue water, the red water, all those people have come and they've okayed everything. I have not done anything that's illegal or unsightly to Shepherdsville. I've cleaned up and done everything in my power. So if I can't get a driveway and I can't go any further than this, I've put a fleece out before the Lord and all of you. If something doesn't happen today, then I'll sell out to the next junkyard because I'm fed up. I can't take any more. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Ms. Cole, you live in my district, and I'd like to give you one of my cards with my number and email on it. And you can contact me. I've never received a call from you.
I have you on my list to call, but I called about 40. I've tried to get in with the judge. The secretary told me that he wasn't over mine and he couldn't help me.
Well, I'm not sure if I can, but, you know, you can reach out to me.
We're in a situation where we're in the city, but are in the county. No, we're in the city,
in the city.
but the county overturns the city. So who do you go to?
Not quite. It doesn't work that way. If you're in the city limits, you're in the city limits. We have no jurisdiction over the cities.
Well, what happens when you're half in the city and half in the county?
Well, you should present that you should have came back in here. You should have came back here to the court before today.
Well, I didn't know that until I talked to a magistrate yesterday. They told me to come in here. So, I don't know. But you don't know my story? I need to know.
Ms. Cole, I would say, I'll get you an attorney, you've done the right thing. That's the path you need to be on. Find an attorney who deals with land issues and zoning issues. That's the right like the judge said, this body can't do anything over the city of Shepherdsville. But the county of Shepherdsville needs to do something, because I'm in the county as well. And if, like the judge said, if your entrance and that part of the property is in the city of Shepherdsville, this body can't direct the mayor or the city workers to do anything,
Or the state workers.
or the state workers. So talking to an attorney is your best bet.
Buddy Shepherd? Oh, that's right. I had Buddy on the brain, I'm sorry. Buddy, Billy Roy, I want to apologize for calling you what your older
I'm back
brother.
up here to ask you about Highway 44.
Yeah,
We've been driving across them ditches since last fall.
yeah, we have
And they
too.
haven't been blacktopped yet.
No, and you've got about another 6 to 8 weeks before they'll be blacktopping anything through there. And they will.
The water company, when they dig a ditch across the road, they come back the next day or two, blacktop it.
Right.
Those were dug last fall. They haven't been fixed yet.
I understand that. I've been through there multiple times in the last,
I guess
2
I
weeks.
need to shut up about it because I'm probably the only one in the West End worried about it.
no, you're,
And I hear a lot of it outside that people in the West End, over the hill's worse than this part on this side.
Right.
And the magistrates from over there knows it.
yeah,
That's not a side road, it's a main travel road,
right,
artery between Shepherdsville and Dixie Highway.
yes.
And I just don't understand letting somebody dig a ditch across the road, and I know it's not y'all's road, it's state,
Right.
but, and then they don't come back and cover it up. It don't make any sense to me, but all I'm asking you just, when the state comes down here and asks which roads we need to work on, try to get 44 in there.
But Billy Roy, they have been told more than once. I will promise you that. We have traveled that road with all of our equipment the last 2.5 months, and we're just as aggravated with it as you are. And Mr. Peabody is going to address that as soon as the weather gets warm, with a better fix.
Well, I've got 2 vehicles, and according to the tire place, both of them need to be lined up, but there's no need to line them up as long as I gotta drive across them 3 ditches down there, and then if you get down there and follow that truck, when they hit them low places that's broke in on both sides of the road,
Right,
that truck goes over the white line, and it's a dangerous road.
yes, sir.
That's
Very
enough said about 44.
Yep.
This culvert deal down there was a driveway in that house before I was born,
Mm-hmm.
and I was born in 1941. My uncle and my aunt lived there, who was her grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
They lived there in that house, and then they built another house, and there was two houses used that same driveway for years, many years before permits was ever thought about. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Billy Roy.
Thank you for coming.
Bill Harned. Sanitation, good morning, Bill. Conservation
I'm
District.
here to represent Bullitt County Soil Conservation. I believe we emailed you a copy of our
Yes.
plan of work and our budget. I do see what you think of me here since I turned into the sanitation district instead of the conservation district. So,
Yep.
if you got any questions, I'll see if I can answer them, and if not, like I said, I believe you got a copy.
Yeah. Thanks for everything you all do over there.
I appreciate it.
Are you going to bring us a check again this year?
Huh?
Are you going to bring us a check again this year?
Yeah, we should be able to come up with something here.
Okay. All
The
right.
state's cutting things back a lot, and
We
it
un-
won't be what it has been, but
Yep. We understand that.
if you can make it to the meeting here in a couple of weeks,
Okay.
tell everybody in the district how great things are in Bullitt County, and we may discuss what that check's gonna be that.
Okay. We will make it a point. Just get with Ms. Renfro and make sure it gets in the calendar.
All right,
Okay?
thanks.
Are the meetings,
Thank you, Bill. The Hillview Library expansion. That's okay. It's all good.
Good. Candy, do you want me to try this? Or pointing towards you on the side? Okay, you tell me when you're ready. So good morning. I'm here to talk about the Hillview renovation and expansion project of the Bullitt County Public Library. We are ready to go. We'll just put it that way. Point toward Candy. Point to the right. Okay, Candy. Not working. Point towards you. On the side, right?
Thing's tricky. We gotta get a new remote. Everybody has one. Hey, you're not the only one. We gotta get a
I
new
know.
remote.
This is a normal thing.
We gotta get a new remote. That's like a prank or something. Everybody
So
comes
we
in
brought
there.
ours.
And we spend 5
All right.
minutes on it.
There it goes, and there
Come on,
it goes.
Candy.
Oh, here we go.
Tricking people.
All right, maybe you just have to get it started.
There you go.
Right, so these are our renderings of the new Hillview branch expansion. The Bullitt County Public Library has a master facilities plans that we have worked to catch up with after COVID. We have refreshed the Lebanon Junction branch last year and are following this plan and are now ready to renovate and expand the Hillview branch location, which opened its current location in 2012. Okay, Candy, we're gonna try again. All right. I know that's hard to see, but it gives you an idea. Expansion on the property will be on the property we already own by the Bullitt County Public Library, where the current Hillview branch is located. Expansion is predominantly to the north, with a slight expansion in an existing building on the southwest sections into Hillview. We went looking like an airplane. Now we look like a Star Wars fighter. We are utilizing the parking at the Dorothea Stotman Annex by joining our Hillview branch parking lot and creating a second entrance from the Hillview Boulevard, with the main entrance remaining on Terry. Okay. The current front of the building can be seen on the top left. That's what we currently have, with a slight expansion. The current back of the building is on the bottom right, and the rest is expansion to the building. What you don't see is the solar rays that'll be on the expansion roofing for additional electrical supply, and the geothermal system for heating and cooling the building. Okay. We are keeping the current facade and connecting the expansion with a slight of modern flair. You'll see it kind of has an arch to it, keeping with the arch of the rest of the building that's currently there. But we are modernizing it. This is a side view angle of the new expansion part, looking from the side off of Hillview Boulevard, kind of behind the gas station and next to the annex. Okay. You'll see the back maintains the quiet park-like garden area. We're shifting the amphitheater, so now it is facing the library. We'll revise the library's story walk path and include a new sound garden for the children's activity room, which is on the right. We'll still have accessible walkways where all residents can enjoy areas for picnicking, playing, and for some just peacefulness outside. So this is the expansion to the left, looking at the back of the current building. This is kind of a garden view from what will become the children's activity room, looking toward the amphitheater and the adult section. Okay. Speaking of the amphitheater, it has been revised. We repositioned it to utilize the library's porch area as for multiple stages, which includes a very large television. Don't ask me exactly how large. It's very, very large. To use for movie nights rather than having outdoor blowing screens or anything like that. This will be all controls of the technology will be inside the building and protected from any elements from the weather. And you can see the amphitheater will be covered to allow light to filter in, but alleviate the heat from the direct sunlight that we currently have, and we call it the skillet. But now we won't have that. We will have a sound garden, which will allow children to have a playground that's different from all others. This sound garden will contain neurodivergent, sensory-friendly instruments with different sounds, bringing in the term sound. But it will also have safe climbing and sitting adventures surrounded by both flowering instruments and appropriate landscaping to create its own garden. The sound garden will be a destination to begin and to end the library's story walk. I know the floor plan is really small, but I'm going to give you just some quick things of it. The new floor plan will incorporate an area for staff now, which includes offices, staff workrooms, and storage. To the right with the entrance, you'll find a learning lab to complement our current maker lab at the central library. We'll do a little more on that later, a better picture. A substantial increase to the children's area, including a children's activity room, family restroom, and a lactation or quiet room, as well as room for our event planners to be close by and supervise. A visually clear, closed teen area with gaming and computers, as well as a hangout space for our youngest adults. An increase in adult reading material to include a Spanish collection, the Library of Things increase, board games, video games, and go-totes. There will be 5 study rooms that allow for individuals or small groups to have quiet areas to meet or study. It will also have areas along the garden view looking out that are separated out with dividers. Though not private, they'll be individualized so people can still use those if they need a calming view to study. The expansion to the north will include a community wing with a conference room allowing for groups to meet. A large meeting room will be available and divided. So one meeting room will hold a demonstration kitchen and access to the amphitheater from the second meeting room. This expanded renovated space will be equipped with the newest and coolest technology, including a 24-hour locker system that we currently have at the Central Library, a smart shelf to allow items to be checked in and out immediately after being returned using RFID technology, and allow quicker circulation of material with less time and staff usage. Okay. So now these are our newest renderings, and we'll talk about our team in a minute. Our circulation desk is now going to be right when you walk in. And into the door, this is looking into the children's area ahead of us with the children's activity room in the center, the adult area to the right, the teen room to the left in a glass enclosed and exit to the garden area is kind of the same exit we have now to the back. And yes, we are keeping the big fan that has been a staple to the branch's identity. So that will be over the circulation desk. And to the left, what you can't see, will be a coffee cafe. We will also increase with the learning lab. We will, here comes the learning lab from across the circulation desk. As you enter the branch, it will be to the right. This is an area for our patrons to create and learn like they have never done before. This will include a sublimation printer, a laser cutter and engraver, a wood cutter engraver, a large format printer. It will include sewing and embroidery machines, a form box vacuum former. It will also do a soldering iron station with a smoke absorber. It will have flat and mug presses, 3D resin printing, as well as 3D filament printing, and various STEM maker kits for our younger children to activities to do to learn more about STEM processes. This is our adult area. Empty area kind of to the right in the center will be where the Library of Things will be housed. It'll be a specific for the items to hang, hanging the weed eater, pressure cooker, pressure washer has somewhere to sit, pressure cooker has somewhere to go, and that's all our furniture we haven't quite gotten to yet. Okay, this is an overhead view of the full wall of windows that look out into the garden area and the adult area, and have serving as individual study areas. You also see an entrance to the right of the community wing, and we still have plenty of height and light. There's another aerial kind of view of the adult area looking into the computer area and further into the children's area. You can see that the Hillview branch is now going to be open where parents will be able to see children and vice versa, even when outside as well across the library. These are the private individual areas that look out into the garden area for studying, relaxing, and reading. This is looking from our circulation desk. Oh, let's go back. This is looking from our circulation desk into the teen room on the left. No, it isn't. A teen room on the left. And into the children's area straight ahead. This is kind of what the staff will be able to see from halfway down. You'll also see that there is another desk area into the children's area, which will give us lots of making sure kids aren't running around, everyone's protected and safe. The transition of material from young adult will allow children to know exactly where their material for their reading level can be found and gives them their own independence. Okay, this is the view of the children's area looking back towards the circulation desk and the front doors. There's the staff desk and the event planner's office to the right, allowing them to have the visual on our youngest patrons, as well as looking to our teen room, watching them from their office. Okay. This is the children's activity room with the wall that completely opens and expands use of the whole area so we can have large events for our smallest patrons. And it has exterior doors to our sound garden. Okay. This will be our new meeting rooms. At the far end, you'll see there's a kitchenette in our meeting room number 2, and a demonstration kitchen we'll get to in a second, and will be the one closest to us. You also see there are 2 large televisions on the walls for presentations, as well as used with the demonstration kitchen, and an exterior door that goes into the amphitheater and garden area. This is our demonstration kitchen. 2 televisions above the island will allow patrons to see what is happening at the cook stove, the sink, and prep area. It'll be used for classes to introduce intermediate level cooking classes for people of all ages and abilities. It'll be used for community events where we'll have diverse community needs like a cultural cooking lessons for foods related to our community building. And also it'll provide entrepreneurship for food entrepreneurs looking for space and equipment that can access the kitchen at low risk ways. Okay. Our existing square footage of the Hillview branch is 10,328 square feet. We are adding an additional 14,690 square feet to make a total of a little over 25,000 square feet altogether. So we're more than doubling our current in the same area. So now let's meet our dream team, and they all decided to come today, so I'm so glad to meet them. Of course, you have our current Bullitt County Public Library Facilities Manager, Curtis Flaherty. Darlene Mann is the president of our Board of Trustees. We have architects from Studio Kramer, Stephen Ward and Jordan Doyle. And we also have one of our subcontracted engineers, Travis Edlin, who works with Carmen in landscaping. Okay. Our new company that we have gone through a bid process. We held a sealed bid opening on Wednesday, February 26th at the Hillview branch. Morrell Construction Company had the lowest bid to include the alternate options of solar array and access flooring, as well as one other one. And the bid is for $11,701. The Library Board of Trustees approved the Studio Kramer's recommendation to accept this bid at a special called meeting on Tuesday, March 11th at the Central Library. The Bullitt County Public Library is proud to announce that due to sound fiscal management and responsible financial planning, the library does not need to borrow funds or request financial assistance from the county for the expansion and renovation of the Hillview Library. Through prudent budgeting, strategic allocation of resources, and long-term financial stewardship, the Bullitt County Public Library and its board has successfully allocated the necessary funds to support this project without incurring debt or placing an additional burden on any taxpayer. This expansion is a direct investment in the growth and enrichment of the community, ensuring that the Hillview branch can continue to provide enhanced services, modern facilities, and expanded resources to meet the evolving needs of the Bullitt County residents. The Bullitt County Public Library remains committed to fiscal responsibility, sustainability, and efficient use of public funds, while delivering high-quality library services to our whole community. Under State Bill 167, which was passed in 2022, the Bullitt County Public Library is presenting for the construction of the expansion and renovation of the Hillview branch an amount not to exceed 120% of the project construction cost of $11,701,000 to the magistrates and the fiscal court for approval. If you have any questions, we are all here to answer any questions you may have.
Just make sure you send us a notice when you do any samples in that kitchen room.
There you go. Absolutely.
So your all's taxing rate, I think it did actually go down.
Our tax rate, I've been here for a little over 2 years, and each year I've been here, it has gone down significantly, and we expect it to go down again this year.
You have all the funds.
And we have the funds saved. Mm-hmm. We have the funds, we're not asking for, we're not taking out any kind of loans or anything like that. It'll be straight payments.
Yep.
Very impressive. It's unreal what all a library, offers now to our community. When I was little, thinking back, just checking out a book, it was so limited, and to see all these options that we give the community and stuff. And I know, I think a lot of people are moving, there's a lot of homeschool students that really take advantage of that stuff too. I know sometimes when I took my kids to the library, it seems like it's always full with a lot of, so it's really, really impressive to see everything that you all offer.
And our northern branch is where our cultural entity is, and we will actually be hiring staff to start our own cultural outreach and programming planners just for the different cultures that we have in the north end as well as throughout the community. But that's where we're starting, so that branch will have a specific set of employees there that'll speak different languages. The collection will have different languages.
Good. Well, Tara, that's an impressive expansion.
It is.
And I'll entertain a motion to accept the library's presentation and approval for the expansion of the Hillview Library.
Thank you.
Is that a motion? Can I make a second?
No, you can make the motion.
Okay.
I just said I would entertain the motion.
Okay, I was just thinking ahead and so much growing going on with that there, so I'd like to make that motion to approve your presentation and proceed.
Thank you.
And I will second that motion.
Okay, thank
So-
you.
Sam, if you'll call the roll.
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Flemmel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you
you
so
all.
much, Fiscal Court.
It'll
Thank
be
you, Tara.
it'll be another great contribution to our community and the educational process.
I bet Dewey Decimal's rolling
Okay,
over his grave right now.
Justin, John,
If only Dewey Decimal could see all this now. Is that his real name?
and Miss Mann, thank you for your leadership in all this. Okay. There you go. But at this time, that's okay. Our emergency management team is going to give a 30,000-foot overview of what our FEMA ask is, and they'll have more details at the next meeting when we put exact dollars on it. So, Mr. Waters, if you'll proceed, please.
Good morning, everyone. We have a presentation together for you all. So we had our initial meeting with FEMA and a representative of KYEM that we've been assigned last Thursday on the 13th. We went out and did some damage assessments, looked at everywhere, kind of showed them where the road department, where the emergency protective measures took place. You're good. We are still awaiting documentation from some departments. Some departments we've already received documentation for, it's just not on the PowerPoint. Maybe I'll show you more in just a moment. So FEMA assigned this disaster, it's from the floods of February the 14th. They have assigned this disaster number 4860. The first category that we're going to be applying for is the debris removal, the cleanup of any natural vegetation, anything on the roadways or side of the roads. The road department's going to be doing that cleanup. They have started work. Work is not completed yet. They will have 180 days to complete that work. Excuse me. After our recovery scope meeting, that has not taken place yet, so they still have plenty of time to get that work completed. They're going to make sure they have all the correct permits or applications that they need to submit to for the staging areas. The next project we're going to be submitting is Category B through FEMA, and that's the emergency protective measure. That's for police, fire, EMS, emergency management, the road department, anybody that did anything as life-saving measures. So any emergency runs that the fire department, EMS, or police made, and so on. Any barricades that was put up to block high-water roadways. Like I said, not all departments are on here. We did receive zones after we created this PowerPoint. So the totals are underneath each department for that respective department. They're a rough estimate, but they're close. Total, it's about $241,000 for reimbursement now, and that's not including the departments we haven't received their documentation for yet. And like I said, that's just for police, fire, and EMS, us, and the road departments. The third and final category we're going to be applying for is category C. This is where a lot of the work's being completed right now. It's the road department completing the roads and bridges and doing any repairs or emergency, like the driveways ordinance you all passed recently. They've already given us $97,000 in documentation. However, they're still doing work. Whenever we went out with FEMA, they estimated total, including the $97,000, to be $409,000 to fix all the roads and bridges that were affected by the floods. That'll also be the 180 days after our recovery scope meeting with FEMA. Like I said, KYM gave us a assigned person from the recovery branch that's going to be assisting through all this. And so our recovery scope meeting hasn't been scheduled yet, but I'll let you all know when it is.
Okay. Just a rough number total of FEMA dollars with all three of the, just rough. It doesn't have to be exact right now.
I would say close to maybe 600,000, 500,000, somewhere in there.
Okay.
7,000.
When do y'all plan on meeting again to start the 180 days? Do y'all have a date for that?
Not yet. So right now we're at the mercy of the state and FEMA. So
Okay.
there's a bunch of FEMA representatives that are at KYM in Frankfurt right now working with them. And then as they make those meetings, they kind of disperse out. We haven't got our date yet. However, I've been in contact with KYM and hopefully soon. For the reimbursement, that could take a few weeks, a few months, it all depends.
Thank y'all for what y'all have done.
No problem.
Do y'all have a list of roads, bridges?
We have a list that we did the other day. Mr. Watkins of the road department has a breakdown of every road that they went to and what work they got completed there. For the category B, the emergency protective measures, we do not have a complete list yet, but we're going to go through the dispatch and get a list from the CAD. That way everything's kind of shown.
The county road department's doing all of it, or is, like if it's in the state roads, are they doing those also, or is the state doing it? Or
The
is it
state's
just-
doing theirs, but we can't claim the state because the KYM will claim the state through the Department of Transportation.
So we only claim county roads,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am. And like if, for example, like if the city of Shepherdsville was doing any cleanup or had any damages, they would declare that themselves, and they would have to do the reimbursement process themselves, and we would assist them in that if they needed it.
How about the private roads?
Private roads, if they get worked on by the county at all, like if we went out there to help them clean up, we can still count that as reimbursement.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we passed at the last meeting.
And so let me ask you about the rain that we had the last couple of days. I know they had, I think, a couple of high water rescues, and I guess the fire departments did it out in my area. One would have been on Greenwood Ford. Would that still be, that probably wouldn't be included in this, but would,
I don't believe
No.
so, no. It's
I didn't
just,
declare an emergency. And
It
the
was-
state didn't either, so.
it's just
as far-
February 14th in that time frame, those flood waters, anything that had to do with respect to that flooding.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Tammy, second reading, and zoning ordinance 25-09. Ms. Vessel's here to represent them.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 25-09. An ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from R1 residential to IL light industrial. Property in question is 2.227 acres more or less, located at 116 Cabin Creek Drive, parcel number 035-NE0-02-015 in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the fiscal court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the fiscal court, and whereas the fiscal court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the fiscal court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and one particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission in docket number 2025Z-10, is hereby changed from R1 residential to IL light industrial. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be effective and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 4th day of March 2025, given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 18th day of March 2025.
Thank you, Tammy.
I make a motion that we accept a recommendation from Planning and Zoning for ordinance 25-09, GRS investments.
Second.
I got a motion by First District Magistrate Sanders, a second by Fourth District Magistrate Blamel to approve the planning and zoning recommendation for 25-09 GRS investments. Sam, call the roll, please.
Logsdon?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Flamel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And thank you for the really good presentation, Counselor.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Second reading of ordinance 25-10, Bullitt County Comprehensive Plan, Goals and Objectives.
Commonwealth of Kentucky County of Bullitt zoning ordinance number 25-10, an ordinance relating to the adoption of the Bullitt County Comprehensive Plan Goals and Objectives. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for adoption of the Bullitt County Comprehensive Plan Goals and Objectives, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed comprehensive plan is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court, County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, that the Bullitt County Comprehensive Plan Goals and Objectives are hereby approved and adopted. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be effective and shall remain in full force in effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 4th day of March 2025, given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 18th day of March 2025.
Thank you, Tammy.
Could I add to that? I just received a copy of this, the comprehensive planning goes, and I have not been able to review it. Is this something we could move to our next meeting to vote on? Or I didn't know if there was a deadline, because I just received the email.
There's no deadline. No. I mean, obviously, the sooner the better, that way the plan's in effect, but legally speaking, there's no deadline as far as that goes.
Yeah, we
It's
all
like-
just got an email.
It's like 98 pages, and I just haven't had a chance to review all of that. I'm sure it's fine. I know Charlie's put a lot of time in it and everything, but I'd still like to review it before I vote.
Are we voting on the total, on the finished project?
It's the goals and
Goals,
objectives.
goals and
Which is a
objectives.
short part of it, but obviously, I mean, makes sense that you want to look at the whole plan, but the part you're actually reviewing is, it's the goals and objectives.
Right.
But
It's-
again, it makes sense that you want to
Okay,
understand.
Like
how
what we
that
have
works
now
with
is a
the rest
rough
of the plan.
draft, so we're
I
not,
sent out the link, I don't know if you, I just sent it yesterday, so I don't know if y'all got it, but, it's the goals and objectives you're voting on, but, I mean, it's up to you all. If you want time to review the whole plan, that's, it's entirely up to you.
Do you clearly?
So are, you know, we had talked about different things that may change, like maybe the ag might go from 10 acres to 5 acres, but that's something that's going to be discussed later, is that right, or is that?
And as soon as the plan is done, I didn't mean to speak for Charlie, but as soon as the plan is done, the next step is having a firm come in and help us rewrite those regulations.
Right.
Oh.
'Cause they're from, 1987, they're very, very out of date, very out of date.
Then
So-
will that come before court also?
Oh, yeah, you will have to adopt those, yes.
So
And
that's
it-
nothing we're voting on today then?
The regulations, no, those are
Right.
gonna be rewritten, we're gonna hire a firm, they're gonna help us
okay.
rewrite the whole thing, and that will have to come back to you all for approval.
Okay.
Is that included in the email there, attachment?
No, so the current regulations, and I'm sure, I don't know if Charlie has extra copies over at his office, they were written in 1987. You can imagine, they're very, very out of date. So they've been needing to be rewritten for years. Yeah, so that's the next step.
Okay, I guess I'm misunderstanding.
So the comprehensive plan is, that's what the commission looks at when a zoning request comes before the board, they say, well, what do we think needs to happen in this area? Let's look to our comprehensive plan, which sets out where do we think the county is moving in the future. That's what the plan is. The regulations are the actual rules about what you can and can't do on certain zone property and getting permits and things like that. So that's the actual laws in place, essentially, that we have to follow.
So we're not voting on the wording of the comprehensive plan as a finished product getting ready to get published.
You're voting on the goals and objectives, but yes, the comprehensive plan is done.
Yeah, it's separate. It's a
separate
plan,
from
the plan, the
We're talking
regulations
about
is
two
something different.
things.
Yeah.
It's done and ready to be published as is.
If you all approve the goals and objectives, it
This-
is. And each legislative body has to take that up as well. Hillview approved it last night.
I would say if she just don't feel comfortable voting or even just getting it yesterday, taking time, I mean, we've waited like 8 years or 10 years for this or what, or more, that's just, what's 2 weeks? I mean, just bump it back to vote on it in 2 weeks, and since we just got it yesterday to review and it's 100 pages. Yeah, we waited this long, I mean, 2 more weeks isn't gonna be a big deal, I don't think, to give time to review it, if that's what you.
I mean, I understand it a little better than I did when I came,
Yeah, but if you feel comfortable, I'm comfortable with I'm comfortable with the plans and the goals and the plan, but, because I think maybe you all thought that you're changing the regulations.
Right, that's gonna be a whole
That's
other thing.
different.
That's gonna take
Okay.
a lot of time to put all that together.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to sit down with any of you at any time. Brian and I met last week and talked about some things. I'm happy to walk you through any of it at any time. I'm sure Charlie would be willing to come sit down with us as well, if you had more questions about it and how it works.
I think I understand it a little better, so I'm all right about going forward with it today. Because like you said, the wording and everything will change on the other.
On the regulation.
It's just I didn't understand.
The comprehensive plan is like a guide. Yeah. For the way the county is moving.
Right. It's gonna move forward.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm ready to go forward with it. That's not,
Does anyone have a printed comprehensive
I
plan
don't even know
with
if Charlie has
them?
that.
I didn't bring mine, it's laying on my desk. I just noticed like under parks, it lists the parks, but Maryville, or Hillview and Nichols didn't on the parks page, you know, I mean, I just noticed a few. You did fix it since I printed it out 2 weeks ago?
that's something they're still gonna work on.
Okay. Well, I will entertain a motion for the ordinance 25-10 Bullitt County Comprehensive Plan goals and objectives.
Well, I'll make a motion that we accept ordinance 20 County Comprehensive Plan goals and objectives. Somebody needs a second. He entertained it, I just made the
Yeah.
motion.
I'll second.
I got a motion by Second District Magistrate Logsdon, a second by First District Magistrate Sanders to approve ordinance 25-10, the Bullitt County Comprehensive Plan goals and objectives. Sam, call the roll, please.
Johnson,
Yes.
Leamel,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you all.
And then,
Julie,
I
go
just
ahead.
want to say thanks, Charlie, for, all the work you did, but I know, and Tom just ran an article in the paper there. I mean, I wish the participation was more, but man, we gave every opportunity for people I know in the community to meet and to give their feedback and input. And this is really kind of the community's plan too, because of, it was such open door to allow input. So thank you for all your work and kind of putting that together and guiding that.
Tammy, thank you for explaining that to me. I just didn't understand it all. Thank you.
Okay. All right. There you go. It's okay, Teresa. Julie, Blue Mind. Good morning.
I think all of you have a copy of this. So
Yep.
if we could just go to the highlights page. I'll go ahead and get started while you're pulling that up on the screen, since everybody's got a printed copy there. So
Yep.
If we go to that, when we first got started, one of the things that we wanted to do was make sure that everybody would use the clinic. So I've tried to put together some stats so that you can see that they have in fact done that. Since November of '23, we've had 577 visits to the clinic by members. We've had 6 different care center locations that have been used. Obviously, the Shepherdsville location is the one they're using most frequently, but they've taken advantage of the other shared sites that we have to make sure that they had good access to that. 31% overall engagement. If you recall, when we did the ROI analysis, we projected a 25% in year 1 and actually achieved a 31% utilization in 2024. Additionally, we had a 43% overall utilization so far in January and February of this year. So not only have we exceeded our goals for the first year, we're already on track to exceed that for year 2. And we have projected a 35% utilization in year 2, and we're already at 43%. Looking at employee primary care usage specifically, we've had 49% employee population usage of the clinic and a 35% unique member utilization. So again, considering things like, are the people using it? Are they coming in for primary care, wellness, and other things? We have achieved and exceeded all the goals that we have put in place. We've got details on any of these if you have questions on that, but let me pause for just a moment, make sure that everybody understands the stats that we have here, see if you have any questions on anything that we've presented so far. Okay. Next thing that we look at is chronic condition management. So you'll see that last one there is that we have saved almost $70,000 in claims just by people coming into the clinic. So there's 2 layers of savings that you achieve. Number 1 is when they come in the door, we don't file claims to your health plan. So that's an immediate savings right there. The other part to that is for chronic conditions. So when we look at some of the illnesses that tend to be higher claims, what are we doing to impact that? We have 8 members that are part of our diabetes care management program, which means we are helping them manage that and control it, and it is not claims that are going to the health plan for those. We have 14 members that are engaged in our weight management program. And we also have had some serious health issues that have been diagnosed and put into early treatment with the visits that we've had to the clinic. We've had a couple of things that were diabetes related, and we had one that came in for a regular visit, actually resulted in us getting that member to care because they had a cancer diagnosis. So when we can make significant impacts in care and making sure that we're getting folks to the appropriate care sooner, that's reducing the claims that are hitting your plan. It's getting them to healthier outcomes quicker and making sure that we're helping control those healthcare costs that you have. In looking ahead at 2025, we are actually increasing the utilization goal that we had set. We set it for 25% in year 1. We exceeded that. We're already on pace to exceed the 35%. So we are going to hold ourselves accountable to working towards a 45%, which is actually a year ahead of what we thought we would be in utilization for you. Second, we want to make sure that we're working towards employee engagement. While we take care of the whole family, our focus is on the employees of Bullitt County Fiscal Court, and we want to make sure that we're achieving that. So we've set a goal of 50% specific employee engagement, and then an increase of 10% in our chronic condition management care. So when we look at that middle highlight there and some of those things, we know that focusing on those most critically ill are the ones that can help save the most for that. We introduced a Textedly, which is an outreach program just to make sure that folks are aware of the services that we have. It sends simple text messages to them. They do have an option to opt out of that, so if they don't want to receive those, they can decline that. But we're trying to make sure we get the message out about things that Blue Mind can do. And we're already planning departmental visits in April. So when we looked at where folks were using which departments and some that maybe needed more information, we're planning visits to go out and make sure that we're connecting with them. Finally, we had spoken about connecting on the Springbuck Analytics platform. This will just give you another layer of reporting to show not only the claims that are saved when members come into the clinic, but also engaged members and how that is positively impacting and reducing the claims that are billing to your health plan. So we'll have that ready to present to you by mid-year this year. So our ask is we gave this a test run for 1 year. It has been successful, and we are asking for a 2-year renewal to continue to serve Bullitt County.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, very thorough, and I remember when you came in the first time, that was the concern, is people gonna use this, and it sounds like they absolutely are, and I'll make a motion that we extend the contract for 2 years with Blue Mine.
I'll second.
Okay. All right. Do what? Okay. Is there a price attached to that, Julie?
Yes. So in the contract, you'll see that it is at $50 per employee per month. That covers the whole family.
Yes.
And that is actually a 23% discount from what our standard rate is.
Yeah, and that's okay. I thought maybe you might have had a total number. I saw that, but that's okay. It's all good, as long as it's part of the contractual agreement.
It is.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I believe it's on page 2 for you.
Yes, it
What
is.
did we pay this past year per employee?
It was $45. We
So
did.
it's $5 more.
Right.
It is. We did a special introductory offer for that first year coming on board.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any more questions?
Janice has something.
I just wanted to reiterate to you, we only paid per employee by what's on the census of what I send to them each and every month. So it fluctuates, so it might be 199, it might be 12, just to give you a heads up, that's how that works.
And when somebody anyway, like yesterday, I used it. They called in for me. Okay, so I have a motion and a second. A motion by Second District Magistrate Logston, a second by First District Magistrate Sanders to approve the Blue Mine contract for the next 2 years. Sam, call the roll.
Flamel,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. Thanks, Julie.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no new hires, correct, Janice? Good deal. I'd like to thank my emergency EMS team and EMA team for being here today. Vera, any comments before we close?
I just want to do a reminder of the ribbon cutting at the health department on Tuesday at 10:30. Is that
I was
10:30?
gonna say, I think it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow?
Today's Tuesday.
That is right. You're right.
Yeah.
Let me find the note.
At
Wednesday.
9:30 or 10:30 or something like that.
I have, oh, here it is, right in front
March
of me.
19th.
I'm sorry, the Bullitt County Health Department,
The
Bullitt
new mobile
Clinic,
unit.
ribbon cutting is March the 19th at 10:30.
There you go.
Okay, all right,
Probably now.
okay. Thank you.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Vera. Sean,
No, good.
Karen,
Nothing today, thank you.
Brian?
No, me and Tammy met last week about the Parks and Rec advisory,
Right,
but she's gonna do it as a resolution.
okay. Okay. That's fine,
Read all
I'll
that,
get it
have
ready.
our nominee.
yeah.
I'll get ready to email it out to you on the next agenda, but I'll get it ready well in advance so everybody has
Sure.
time to look it over.
That'd be fine. Well, thank you, Brian.
Real quick, I do want to just publicly thank Robert with the road department. I had a complaint on a culvert being stuck, and before I could even call him, she apparently had contacted him somehow, and he had already went over there over the weekend at night and cleaned out the culvert himself with a shovel. So I just wanted to publicly thank him for doing that. That was on a weekend, and I mean, before I even called him,
Yep.
he already had the problem taken care of, and I just was very impressed, and I just appreciate that.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you publicly. He's not here, but I just wanted to say that.
All right,
He's put in a lot of long hours through all this flooding and everything. I do know that.
yep,
He could have easily been, well, it's a lot of rain, everybody's flooding, but he went over with a shovel and dug on it and scraped on it and cleaned it out, so. The homeowners called me and was very, very happy, so.
yes, thank you. And anything else,
That's it,
Sean?
that's it.
Okay. I just have just a couple of things here real quick. The first thing I want to chat about for just a minute, and I'm so glad the mayor's here, but it's a Vietnam parade on March 29th. It starts at 1 p.m., and I can't thank the city of Shepherdsville enough for initiating that, and it's one of the first ones probably anywhere and everywhere, especially in Kentucky, recognition of those who literally had such a tough homecoming and a lot of disrespect at that time. I remember that quite handsomely. And Mayor, thank you, Cabero. Teresa, I know you've had a lot to do with that too, and all you do in the community, and thank you for being a great city council member at Lebanon Junction. I would like to tag along on what Sean and Vera said about Robert and them, but I would like to thank our entire emergency services, of which we include the road department in that acronym, because they're a really big part of it, and the cooperation that we've had with the state and the acknowledgement of the state by our emergency services group as being one of the finest in the Commonwealth. As they guarantee, what do you want to call it? We didn't have much of a choice. They grabbed Justin and John and took them to the command center in Frankfurt, and then they also signed them Pike County as well, which is the absolute largest county by acreage in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, a lot of hills and dales, and for all what we have done during the disaster period and what they're collecting for us to get our FEMA reimbursement. And I know John's got his fingers crossed that we'll get the funding back shortly, but in the experiences we've had in this office, sometimes it takes years. And I'm so pleased that we've been physically responsible where we did have the extra funding to be able to meet those needs. And we didn't have to go borrow money. And again, congratulations to the library for being really physically responsible. And thank everybody in this room. Bill, I'm sorry, you're not part of the sanitation district and conservation. And Chief, thank you for all that you have done and all the fun stuff with the new fire trucks. So at this time, I'll shut up. I could talk for hours, but I have to go introduce our state U.S. Senator. You all have a great day. Vera, what time is it?
The time is 10:48. I make a motion to adjourn.
Got a motion by 1st District Magistrate Sanders, a second by 3rd District Johnson to in the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on March the 18th, 2025. Sam, call the roll.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Leamel?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you all. Thank you for letting me get out of here on time so I don't have to race down there. Yeah. I'm glad you did. I told him I might be a few minutes late. They had another person, Judge Tall was going to introduce him if I couldn't be there. This is down at the Tourism Center. It's for the...
Oh, okay.
I said I'm
On the real hard turn.
for the Knox Regional Development Center. It's a... No,